Hello, my name is Ryan Harper, and today we're going to be speaking with Jeff Blinder, organizer behind Spazzfest XIII, a musical festival that's happening here in Greenville. So let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Jeff Blinder. I'm the organizer of Spazzfest. It's in its 13th year, and I'm in the heart of it right now, getting everything ready and getting the logistics crunched. But I'm very happy to be on and be able to talk about it a little bit with you. It starts about 20 years ago, 2000, early 2000s. I started attending events here in regards to like live music and the college level events because my family has family on this side of the of North Carolina. I'm from New Jersey originally. That's where I was born and went up in high school there. Right around the senior year of my high school, I came and moved here with my family. Before that, we would come every summer, and I knew Greenville all of my childhood through that. But in my college years after high school was when I really got here, and when I first started attending events that were Greenville based at some of the older venues and Backdoor Skate Shop and Backdoor Skate Park and all those, and I got a sense of like the music community that was a thing, and I wanted to be involved in any way, and started to really get involved around 2003, which is almost 20 years now. Yeah, I've been through many different waves of what the music community is here, and in 10 years ago, about no, 13 years now, in 2010, we started a music festival that came about basically because there was a weekend where there was a lot of musicians asking about the same weekend to come through, and I wanted to make it something special because I was like, well, how am I going to get all these musicians on one show? We made it a longer event, and it blossomed from there. And there's more details about it that I could elaborate on. But yeah, basically in like 2010, we started doing this at a place called the Tipsy Teapot. That was our first one, and it's been going bigger and stronger since then. Uh, well, when I started doing shows, I needed a name for the house I was doing shows at because at the beginning, when we didn't really have a connection to any of the live music places around at the time. So instead of not doing shows, we decided to do them in my living room, and that living room became the Spazzatorium, which was my basically my room that I lived in, and I'd have shows and move stuff out and put a mattress up, and bands would play, and so that the name came from that really. Like the Spazzatorium became a art gallery that we rented off of Dickinson Avenue before they had gussied it up. We had a storefront out there, and Spaz Presents is kind of my booking thing where I present events all around different venues and such around town, and then the Spaz Fest comes out of that. It's kind of all under a Spaz banner, so to speak. I would say that I paid attention to festivals all over the country, and there were some nights where I had shows with like six bands, and I'd be like, "We should have just called this a festival," because this is a lot of stuff. And um, I noticed, as I mentioned earlier, I noticed a influx of bands this one weekend, and they were all really great. And I found out that it was because it was a runoff from all the way from Austin, Texas. They do something called South by Southwest, and a lot of bands who are from the East Coast are going up 95 or down 95 there and back. And Greenville so happens to be like an hour off, and all these acts were coming back, and we started getting word of mouth after I booked the first one with like six bands. All the bands told other bands. The next year they're like, well, make sure on the way there or back you hit up Greenville, and that coincided with like this kind of the same weekend. So I would say we were like maybe started as a sister, an unknown sister to South by Southwest, and then then I started not even worrying about doing it around South by Southwest. Really, it was like it became its own thing where enough bands actually wanted to just come through where they weren't even playing South by Southwest. So we started. I still pay attention to when South by Southwest is, and I do get some good bands from there. But now Spazzfest has its own reputation, which is really great. The cool thing about Spaz, in my opinion, is very open to all different genres. So if you see an event, I really encourage you to dig a little bit into. I usually put the info out there, what's happening, but it's not going to be one sound. And even more so when we have the Spaz Fest, I really do encourage all different genres and all different styles. And I won't make it haphazard and book crazy disparaging styles on one night, but we're talking 3 or 4 days of music day and night. And there'll be one venue that has a certain sound, yeah, and then there'll be another venue that has a different sound, and you can have these options. And I'll find little bands that connect all these things. So sometimes there'll be some unusual lineups put together, but if you come out, you'll see it makes sense, because kind of the thing that I have a passion about is I don't make music myself, but I curate, and through curation is my artistry, and I think the Spaz Fest is my really great picture I've painted for the year. It's kind of my masterpiece for the year, and it's hard work, but it shines usually, and people seem to like what I painted. So. I would say, once I got to year 10, it's just such an overwhelming undertaking that I just look forward to it once all the logistics are there, that it's actually happening. And I have some helpers that jumped in kind of last minute this year, my friend B and my friend Lee, and they're helping with certain elements that really kind of take me away from what I do. And they're jumping in, and I really, really appreciate them for that. So year 13, I call it lucky number 13, not unlucky. But it takes, a lot of people behind the scenes. And this year there's certain things I'm looking forward to. I really am happy we have the State Theater to do. That's the biggest venue we've had since I've been doing this. The pandemic is easing up a little bit, but it took I guess 20 years to have a venue like the State Theater, and then right when we got connections to them, the pandemic hit, and we had some great things planned, and we had to put it on hold. And now here we are, and we have a 900 something capacity venue here in Greenville, and really great sound. And I love the people who do that, and the staff that's there. So I would say those are the bigger shows, and I've really, really made the lineup special for those shows. And I think anyone who comes out is going to get their money's worth to that. And it's just such a cool thing to have in Greenville, because it's been so long to have a real venue. We don't have to drive to Charlotte or Raleigh. And if we do it right, we'll have that place. And I think Spazzfest will show them that we're going to do it right. The festival itself has been billed as the Thursday, March 24th, all the way through Sunday, March 27th. So that's kind of what I've been pushing. I did add a pre-party event that a band called MAM is going to play, and they're out of Pennsylvania, and they're one of the bands that throughout the years between Spazzfest, I get these really great touring bands, and some of them really, really impressed me. And I asked them to come to Spazzfest. If they do a really great job, I'll invite them to Spazzfest. I'll try to get all those bands throughout the year who are really killer to come that one weekend, and we'll try to get them in there. And MAM, their tour routing couldn't get them right on the Spazzfest, so I'm like, let's do a pre-party. So we're going to do a pre-party at Molly's Community Cafe in coordination with the open mic they do. And MAM is going to start things off, and then we have a kickoff party on the actual date that I've been advertising, 3/24 at multiple venues. I could keep talking about what's happening, but really, if you go to spazpresents.com, we've put a lot of info on there. Thanks to my friend Lee, amazing person to help me with that. But there's a lot going on right now. I'm like seeing it in my head, and it's like that meme where you're seeing all the scientific symbols. I'll tell you, if you look at there, you'll see a lot of options, but it goes right from 3/24 to 3/27 day and night. There's after parties, there's brunches, there's all these things going on. And, it's a great thing to be able to tell everyone about, and more info could be had. And we have a website this year. This is the first year we've ever had a website to where I could tell people. Usually I'm just yelling info at people and being like, you right there, you'll like this one on Thursday. Come out here. But now I could just be like, you should go to the website. Any specific questions, I usually put it out there how to find me or send a message to Spaz Presents or whatever. But there's a lot to be had as every year. There's a lot going on. So hit the website up and message it if you have any questions. But there's something exciting coming up in the end of March.
Okay, well, thank you so much for speaking with us. And Jeff, I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.